The war on feral hogs, America's most dangerous invasive species, is never truly over. They come year-round, day or night, summer or winter, always hiding and waiting for the opportunity to attack. Every noise in the dark could be the beginning of a new disaster. Can humans control this aggressive creature, or are they just living in a nightmare that repeats forever? In the fall, when the leaves are crispy under the footstep, each hunt is like a game between humans and darkness. The rustling of the forest mixed with the breathing of the hunter and the prey, causing all senses to stretch like a string. But then winter struck the snow covered with white mountains, the breeze, and everything changed. The hunt is not only a chase, but also a survival battle between people, nature, and the cruel cold to suffocate. Each season is a new battlefield, never repeating. Rain, sunshine, wind, or snow all shape the battle between people and wild animals. Every day passed, the terrain changed, but the mission remained unchanged, preventing the destructive beast before they turned this land into ashes. In the game of survival, there is no room for mistakes, only the bravery, speed, and will of those who dare to stand up against the intense nature. If you are also passionate about hunting, subscribe to the channel now to explore the most intense hunting trips. Today, let us enter that death. Hunting has never been easy, for each shot to be a result of hours waiting, observing and holding breath in the deep forest. Only a small mistake, the prey will disappear and the hunter becomes a hunter. It is not only a gun battle, but a silent battle between human patience and nature. The forest is not tolerant. It taught us the lesson of respect and humility. Just one step of slipping, a crispy dry leaf, everything disappeared, the animals disappearing like ghosts in the mist. But then, when the breath was rushing, the heart beats hard in the chest, that fateful moment finally came. The forest was covered in a thick blanket of snow, terrifyingly silent. The trees are bare, standing tall like ghosts in the cold grey sky. From afar, the sound of crumbling snow rang out, with heavy, steady rhythms as the herd of wild boars was approaching. Unbeknownst to them, there were eyes watching from the darkness. The hunter held his breath, his hand tightened on the gun, his heart beating loudly. The light of the pig's tusks flashed in the white snow, and he knew the moment of life and death had come. Amidst the cold white snow background, the taciturn shadows of the wild boars appear significantly, each moving like live balls. Then, the gunfire resounded, tearing the silence. The two children collapsed, bloody blood fluttering in the snow, while the rest panicked and fled, disappearing into the deep forest. But before I could breathe, the ground shook. Since the grey trees, a giant wild boar rushed out, his red eyes, the fierce roar rang. My heart has a living instinct and fear of harming one. There is no time to hesitate. Boom! The bullet hissed, tearing the cold air, stuck straight into the animal's forehead. The explosion echoed in the middle of the forest, and only a beat later, the giant body collapsed into the snow, leaving a streak of red blood like a cut on pure white background. From afar, the yellow hare-hunting dog rushed, barking, eyes glowed in the icy breath. Its barking is not only a signal, but a signal of a victory that makes my heart tremble between the tension and the pride of the survivor. Boom! The rifle ripped the quiet curtain. The beast stopped, staggered and collapsed, disappearing in the vast white space as if the winter storm was invisible. On the opposite flank, Thomas closed the plan as planned. Rugged mountain slopes, sharp stones like knives, slippery steep slopes, dark cracks where wild boars often burrowed deep in the bushes, hidden until the last minute. The whole space held her breath. Only the heart rate and discipline maintained the initiative of the hunting team. When Thomas stepped up, the snow in front of him suddenly shook. From the bush, a giant wild boar rushed out like an arrow, tearing the quiet atmosphere. The roar echoed between the mountains and the rocks splashed, but Thomas did not flinch. "10 years of experience forging him reflexes as instinct. Only in an instant, he raised the gun, the steel barrel sparkled in the snow, ready to face the life and death before his eyes. The rifle was raised, the cold steel light reflected in white snow. Thomas took a deep breath, watching the state. The gunfire resounded. The beast collapsed in the middle of the slope, rolled down, leaving a red blood streak on the pristine snow. Further, another is still engrossed in digging. The muzzle is deep into the roots of the tree, completely unconscious before the fate is lurking. Thomas upped the bullets again. His eyes were full. The shot resounded, cold and accurate. In the thin mist, the hunter's heart sagged. Not because of victory, but because of respect for the birth of a life.
Hey, what you got there, bud?
But have you ever wondered why the wild boar became so aggressive and reckless? What made them leave the deep forest to confront humans? As the living environment is increasingly narrowed and the food source in the forest is exhausted, the instinct of survival forces the wild boars to change. They no longer hide in the dark, but overflow the plains, sabotage crops, attack the barn, and even enter the town. With them, it is not an aggressive action, but the desperation of the species is accompanied by the end. Fighting to win the opportunity to survive in the world is gradually narrowed. In Texas, wild boar has become a true nightmare of the agricultural sector. Each year, they cause an estimated 230 million USD damage, destroying hundreds of thousands of hectares of crops, grasslands, and irrigation systems. They bumped fences, plowed the soil, polluted water sources, and transmitted diseases to cattle. With a number of more than 2.6 million, Texas is currently the most heavily damaged state in the United States, where the war between humans and wild boars has not yet ended. Besides terrible destructive power, wild boar reproduced at astonishing speed. In Texas, they can reproduce all year round, but the peak falls in the spring and autumn, when the food source is abundant. And adult children can have 2 litters per year, each of 4 to 12 children, and the young takes only 6 months to grow and start reproducing. With such exponential fertility, just a few pairs of pigs escaped from control, their population can double in less than a year, making all control efforts almost become hopeless. Facing the wave of fierce devastation of wild boars, the US government was forced to grant hunting licenses in all forms, from traps, snipers, to hunting from helicopters. This is no longer a sports activity, but a mandatory command to prevent aggressive animals from destroying crops and challenging the Texas agriculture. Click on registration and turn on the notification bell to witness the choking moments, where only a small mistake can change everything. The helicopter quickly swept through the field. The blade of tearing the wind forms the blind dust. Under the vision of the viewfinder, the wild boar fled in panic, rinsed the fence, ploughing the yellow corn bed. The hunter tightened the stalk, once shook the bullet accurately into the target. The explosion echoed in the middle of the air and the sound of intense wind. Sweat rolled down on the forehead, heart beating in the rotor rhythm, both tense and excited to the extreme. But when the gun smoke gradually dissolved, the feeling of joy gives way to quietness. The helicopter circled, looking down at the torn-up patches of land. The hunter involuntarily clenched his fists. They understand that behind every hunt is a never-ending battle for survival. The silence after the storm of bullets made them realize, sometimes, victory also brings with it the sadness of those who defend their land. For every 10 wild boars that rush away in panic, only 3 are lucky enough to escape the sights of expert gunmen. Their noses were as sharp as compasses, and their hunting instincts made the dogs run at full speed. Each step seemed to tear through space. A black shadow cut through the white field, a living storm, rolling up dirt and leaves in its wake. David's heart pounded, his breath hitched. Before the figure disappeared into the bushes, David's finger tightened on the trigger. A loud bang pierced the sky and everything stopped for a moment. A gunshot tore through the silence. The pack of hunting dogs instantly locked onto their target, charging forward like living arrows, their speed causing the ground to tremble. His heart pounded with every step, his breath heavy in his chest. The chase was straight, breathless, and led into the open field, where the rustling of the bushes signaled the approaching decisive moment. The gunshot echoed through the valley, but the monster continued to charge, as stubborn as a ghost in the forest. Sweat beaded on his forehead, his hand trembled slightly, but his finger remained tight on the trigger. David's group split into small groups, blocking all escape routes. The highest peak became a lookout, though dry branches and rough terrain made it difficult to advance. Suddenly, a dark figure appeared before the target. It struggled to free itself, but the experienced hound locked on. Cornered, the beast roared and charged desperately in a final defense. David held his aim, his finger tightening on the trigger. The loud bang of the gun stopped the beast's desperate charge. On the other side of the hill, my comrades opened fire, and the hunt was ended in a wave of smoke and fire. The red sunset was falling, but from the high mountainside, my eyes caught sight of another herd of wild boar, completely unaware of the danger approaching. Experience and bravery helped the hunt end in victory. The gunshots, the growls, and the rapid footsteps of the hunting dogs blended into the fierce music of the mountains and forests. Nearly a dozen pigs fell, only 2 escaped in desperation. Dusk gradually fell, leaving behind the smell of gunpowder and the breath of victory. This war was temporarily over, but the war with the invasive species still continued. Danger lurks silently, and then people are stunned with fear. More than 9 million feral hogs, weighing up to 200 pounds, are roaming across 39 states, causing thousands of broken windshields and even catastrophic accidents, according to USDA data. Drivers in rural areas, especially on roads like Georgia's Highway 27, live in constant fear of encountering these unpredictable creatures at any time. It's a battle for survival to protect drivers and America's highways from a relentless herd of feral hogs. The unexpected crashes cause heavy damage, striking fear into the hearts of anyone behind the wheel. Hunting on the ground near roads was both too dangerous and restricted by state law, forcing hunters to take their technology into the air to continue the fight. Helicopters flown by licensed gunners sweep across the vast countryside. From above, they target herds of wild boars roaming the open fields before they can rush out and endanger vehicles and human lives on nearby roads. In the scorching heat of the day, the helicopter's blades kicked up dust, shaking the vast plains. The hunter squeezed himself into his seat, his heart pounding, his throat choked with anticipation and responsibility. He could hear the engines sound as clearly as his teammates' heartbeats. "Get him to position 3-2-1, the squad leader whispered harshly. As the helicopter descended, footsteps echoed. The action on the ground suddenly became intense. The sight flashed, the gun touched the muzzle. Everything froze in the decisive moment. And when the command sounded, the team acted as one body, fast, cold but thoughtful, because each shot was not only a technical task, but also carried with it concern for the crops, for the safety of the community, and respect for the creatures they were forced to confront. Armed with heavy rifles, aerial teams can sweep up to 10,000 acres in a single day, effectively reducing feral hog populations by up to 70%. This is one of the most powerful ways to counter the invasive species, according to Texas A&M research. Under strict USDA oversight, this high-risk method has become a key weapon to stop feral hog invasion and protect American drivers. At the Alabama Command Center, technology reigns supreme. Thermal, scanning drones spot the pigs hidden in the swamp, their screens glowing red to signal their targets. "We've got them locked on," a technician exclaims. This is a 21st century boar hunt. Every second counts, and the team is ready to act. Get him there immediately. On the ground, the action is intense. Using drone coordinates, the clever trap was set up near the middle of the field, on the paths they often used. The thick, cold steel frame was sturdy like a small fortress. Inside, the bait was cleverly placed to lure the wild boars into entering without the slightest suspicion. At the top of the cage, IoT sensors are fixed, ready to send a signal as soon as the door is closed. When night falls, the trap lies dormant, seemingly harmless. But one wrong step and the entire flock will be trapped in the steel trap.
Turn it around. Hey, look right there. Look. Gonna like it. He even got, I think it's a boar hog. I'm pretty sure it's a boar hog.